Hey everybody, it's Glenn, back in this video with the all-new X-Men Marvel Legends box set. Great artwork on the front by Stuart Immonen from the cover of All New X-Men #1, the comic series where the 5 original X-Men have been brought from the past to the present to confront their future selves. So I love the box set artwork, I love Marvel Legends, I love X-Men. How could this possibly go wrong? Let's take a closer look. Oh crikey, where to even begin? I've never had to review action figures this ugly that I can only review them by looking at the reflection of them in a shield gifted to me by Zeus. But nonetheless, let's kick it off with Cyclops. So you need to keep in mind this set has a price tag of $89.99 and at one point had a price tag of a whopping $129.99. So each figure is priced at the price they would be if sold individually, like the Infinite Series figures, which for the most part have been some of the best Legends to date. Now looking at the left of the screen and from a distance, if you squint, yeah, it's none too shabby, but as we take a closer look, and the paint application is the most flawed I've ever seen on an action figure, so the coverage of the blue paint is light enough that it doesn't cover the recesses around the ribs, leaving the yellow plastic to glare out. Then some shading in orange to the yellow part on the front, and as we turn the figure around, it's a case of giving with one hand and taking away with the other, as on the back there's no shading whatsoever. Then we get the obligatory 2 fingers to pose to the visor, yet the cuff of the glove actually prevents you from completing that pose. Optic blast fail. Then we have the reuse of the Bucky cap base, and if reusing a mold is logical, I'm not one to complain. Hasbro used it on the Wolverine Legends Cyclops to good effect. You see it here, although I'm currently customizing it into a Jim Lee Cyclops. Do stay tuned for that. But the problem is that this box set is supposed to be the original X-Men, back when they were billed as the strangest teens of all time. You know, teens as in teenagers. Yet look how ripped he is. It's just wrong. And now Beast, a character much overshadowed by his later blue furry form, so it's great to get a more human version of the character. I just wish it was better. Let's start with the positive though, and it's certainly the best head sculpt of the set, and they've managed to paint his eyes looking vaguely in the same direction. Angel and Jean will be jealous, but we'll get to them. Back to Beast, and he uses the earlier Hyperion body that was also used for Sabretooth and more recently Toxin. I'm down with that, and the sculpt of the feet is the highlight of the set. Plus they have the crazy ankle pivot, so you can have the figure pose taking full advantage of his mutant super agility, except that all comes to a screeching halt with his arms. They have zero articulation beyond the elbow, and for an agile character like Beast, that's just lazy and cheap, and for a line that essentially invented superposability, it's just criminal. Plus he suffers from the same sloppy paint app with the yellow plastic peeking through the blue paint. And while Beast is disappointing, that disappointment pales in comparison to the disappointment I found in this one. They call him Angel, yet I think this figure is actually the work of the devil. Like Cyclops, it reuses the Bucky cap body mold. I guess something positive you could say about it is the sculpt of the wings is decent for what it is, yet they are just one plastic piece. They slot into the hole in the figure's back that it inherited from the hole that Bucky Cap's shield fits into. I mean, seriously? No articulation in the wings? Even the Marvel Universe Angel had hinged wings, and I think they're just far too small. I just can't imagine him taking to flight with these tiny wings. And if by chance he does take to the air, you can at least articulate the head back into a flying pose. As for a standing pose, due to the weight of the wings on his back, you do need to pose him leaning forward to counterbalance. And did I forget to mention that the figures have a sloppy paint app? No, I didn't, because they keep rubbing my face in it. And speaking of faces, just look at it. And if looking at it doesn't turn you to stone, then you'll see it's total mutant. And I don't mean in the X-Men sense, more the hills have eyes, caught in an atomic bomb blast and product of inbreeding sense. Moving on to Iceman, a character who in my opinion has been cursed throughout the years. years by never having a decent action figure. They all just seem to lack that certain something, and I'm afraid with this one it's no different. It uses a body mold from years back, from the dark days of Marvel Legends. I forget what it was first used for, maybe the Vision? I'm not sure. It was most recently used though for Claw in the Return of Marvel Legends Terrax series. It's definitely one that's better best forgotten, and I have no idea why Hasbro decided to dust this one off when they could have used, say, Superior Spider-Man, which would have fit Iceman perfectly. I mean, this is from the era where Hasbro cut costs to the bone, so there's no ankle pivot, and look at the sculpt. It's just so wrong. Those sloping shoulders. It's lucky he's not a pirate, or a parrot would come sliding straight off of those. And finally, it's Jean! Certainly not a great rendition of the character, but in my opinion, not the worst figure in this set. But then again, the history of Marvel Legends has taught me to have real low standards when it comes to Lady Legends. Here she is alongside her future self, the Jim Lee Jean Grey from the Rocket Raccoon series, with whom she also shares a body mold. And yes, like the rest, she suffers from sloppy paint application, but I'm tired of drawing attention to it, so instead I'll distract you with her big drag queen hands. Who knew Jean had the second biggest hands in the X-Men after Beast? Here is Jean alongside the rest of the team, and sadly it seems that even as action figures, mutants are second-class citizens, and I say that as Hasbro have been knocking it out of the park with the Spider-Man and Captain America Infinite Series Legends, yet with these... It sucks because it seems like we've just reached a moment where Hasbro were finally listening to us and understanding Marvel Legends, then they unleashed these, and it makes me think that when they do actually get it right, it's entirely by accident and not by design. To me, the only thing worse than low quality action figures are ones with a high price tag, and these certainly represent that. I mean, Hasbro, if you're going to cut the cost to the point where you're releasing figures of this poor quality, at least pass the savings on to the consumer. It just makes me so angry and frankly embarrassed to have bought them. But then I paid $89.99 for them. Some poor suckers out there paid $129.99. I'd be crying right now if that were me. So ultimately, I'd only recommend them if A, you've got really low standards, or B, if you've got money to burn. Anyway, please like the video. Also remember to comment, share, and subscribe. If you missed my previous exploits, then click this video. Alternatively, check out the description beneath this video for links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Click those links and connect with me there too. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye.